Oh, damn it. Ah! Let me get out of that, dude. Hello guys, welcome back to another Raz Plays review. Today we have something I've been so excited to try out and make a video on, and that's the Skypad XL 3.0. Being a control pad user since pretty much I started playing mouse and keyboard, I've tried a variety of control pads. Eventually, I landed on the Artisan Zero as my main pad. If you guys haven't heard of Artisan, they're pretty much like the Nissan Skyline of mouse pads. Very smooth, durable, and most importantly, handmade Japanese quality. With that in mind, I wanted something new and high quality as well, but unique and different. And it doesn't get much more unique or different than a mouse pad made of pure glass. So I found the Skypad, or like the Bugatti of mouse pads. Stylish, expensive, and most importantly, extremely freaking fast. Since the Artisan has been my main pad for like over half a year now, all the comparisons I make in this video between glass and cloth pads are going to be between the Artisan Zero for the cloth and the Skypad as the glass pad. Alright, with all that said, let's go ahead and get this out of the box and on the desk. Alright, so a lot of that footage that you all just seen was from almost a month ago. I didn't want to rush my review so I could make a good comparison between the Artisan and the Skypad. Throughout the last month, I swapped back and forth between the two to really get a good feel for the differences between them. And I want to try and convey that as best as possible in this review. Also, I wanted to quickly mention that yes, the pink is a special edition colorway along with the red. They were sold at a discount because they had a flaw in the print, which I'll show later in the video. I paid $103 for the pad shit, but typically you'll pay $140 to $150 after taxes and shipping at regular price. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is the glide, which obviously that's the biggest variable in determining whether a pad is for you or not. I was very surprised after trying the Skypad that it's not as fast as I thought it was going to be, at least for my grip style and the way I use my fingers for stopping power, or to create my own stopping power. Now don't get me wrong, it's still faster than the Artisan and pretty much any pad that I've ever used. As you can see here in this glide test, the mouse breaks away much faster and starts moving with much less of an angle, meaning the initial friction is pretty low. On the Artisan, I have to lift the pad much higher to get the mouse to move. So it's clear the Artisan has more initial friction, which means the amount of force it takes to get the mouse to move from a dead stop. You can definitely feel this when playing games or just using a mouse in general on the Skypad, because it's like the mouse always wants to jump around on you with the slightest input. The thing is, when you finally get moving, the mat-like finish on the Skypad creates a sort of friction on your mouse feet, which provides a pretty controlled glide. And in that sense, it's not too far off from some faster cloth pads in terms of glide and speed. Now when it comes time to stop on someone's head for a flick shot, or even hold your mouse in place to double click on a file, then you start to feel that really low initial friction again and the mouse wants to jump around on you. Like I said earlier though, for me this isn't an issue, because I use a claw grip style where I rest the tips of my thumb, ring finger, and pinky on the pad to give me more stopping power, but also provide some feedback by filling out the mouse pad, which I find helps me be more accurate. With that being said though, I do feel that the extra stopping power on the Artisan pad helps me be more accurate on my flick shots, while the extra smoothness on the Skypad helps me be more accurate in my tracking and in my speed of builds and edits while playing Fortnite. In my opinion, because Because the Skypad requires you to have better mouse control, I don't think it's the best for beginner keyboard and mouse players. I believe a good control pad will help you learn the basics of mouse control and develop good habits. But once you've played keyboard and mouse for a while and you've honed your skills in mouse control, then I think the Skypad unlocks your true potential. For me, when I first played on the Skypad, the speed in which I could build and edit on Fortnite increased a lot and it was a little difficult to control. But I spent some time free building and I felt more and more comfortable on the pad. It also started to feel effortless to build and edit because of the speed that you can change directions on glass pad. I consider myself to have decent mouse control though, and I can see where a beginner would have a hard time getting used to the Skypad, also while trying to think about controlling their left hand on the keyboard. So if you're an FPS veteran or little Timmy who's all grown up from Fortnite and you've honed your mouse control, and you play a shooter like Fortnite or Apex Legends that has a lot of verticality or where you move around your mouse really fast, then I could see a huge benefit in using the Skypad. But if you're a newbie and just trying out mouse and keyboard, or if you play Valorant or CSGO or something where you mostly rely on precision and flick shots, then I think the Artisan is going to be a much better pad for you. Another thing I noticed about the glide after going back and forth between the pads is how uneven the Artisan pad is, even though it's known as the most even pad or the most level pad. When I first used an Artisan, I thought that the super flat nature of the pad was very smooth and consistent, but glass is perfectly flat and smooth. And after using the Skypad, I realized that the Artisan pad is not as smooth as I used to think. It has these very wide waves that you can feel as you swipe across the pad. This of course could be because I've been using the Artisan for the last 6+ months, but I never noticed it until I used the Skypad. It's still of course flatter than 99% of all the other pads that I've ever used, but it took something as flat as a Skypad to actually feel it or notice the difference. One last thing I noticed about the Skypad is it has a pretty atrocious noise or sound as you swipe across it. I'll do a quick sound test so you guys can hear what I'm talking about. Alright, the next thing to cover is durability. I want to start off with a warning. I know in the intro I was spinning around my mouse super fast, but that's because that mouse had glass feet. But this is absolutely not recommended for general use or even in gameplay, as glass on glass is really bad and they're going to end up scratching each other all up. But if you just don't care about the longevity of your pad or glass feet, then it does provide an insanely fast swiping experience. But as far as durability, I mean it's glass, there's no edges to fray. I even recently lapped my processor in my PC using some sandpaper and the Skypad as a backing, just to make sure that the sandpaper was as flat as possible. And the Skypad has no sign of doing that after cleaning it up, which cleaning is very easy. If anything spills on it, you can just use water and a cloth or paper towels to clean it up. Personally though, I highly recommend using a lint roller periodically before you use the Skypad, because unlike a cloth pad, if dirt gets on the Skypad, I really feel it. It feels really scratchy and messes me up when I'm playing. On a cloth pad, it's more forgiving, and if there's dirt on a cloth pad, it can sink into the pad when I glide over it, and you don't feel it as much. But on a Skypad, that dirt really scratchy. Also, the Artisan pad has a huge problem of hairs getting stuck into it. Sometimes even when I use a lint roller, the hairs just won't come out. The Skypad being glass, this isn't an issue. Another thing I want to mention is that the Skypad destroys PTFE way faster than a cloth pad does. The surface of a Skypad is a matte finish, which is similar to sandpaper, so you're essentially sanding down your mouse feet as you play. But when I went back to the Artisan pad with the same mouse, it smoothed out the feet again since it's basically polishing it. You can still sort of see grooves however, and that's from the random hard bits of dirt that got on the Skypad and scratched the mouse feet. So as I mentioned earlier, these red and pink pads are special edition colorways released for Christmas, and they have a defect. In the promotion, they said the print had these weird specks in the color of the pad. The color is printed on the back of the glass, or the part that sits on your desk, and shines through the matte part of the glass for you to see. On my copy, the color itself has 0 defects. However, on the surface where where the matte finish is on the glass. There are spots where it looks like something happened during the process where they apply the finish, and the spots were shiny instead of matte. After using the pad though, these spots ended up collecting PTFE material from the skates on my mouse and showing up as white specks. I don't know if this is the actual defect they were referring to in the post, but it's kind of unfortunate because I would rather have a defect in just the color itself than something on the surface like this that could affect its usage. When it builds up enough, I feel these white specks as little tiny bumps and I have to clean the pad or use my fingernail to sort of scratch away the white specks and then follow up with a lint roller to get rid of the residue. Also, I'm not sure if that's something exclusive to this run of the Skypads or if that happens to all Skypads, because this is the only Skypad that I've ever owned, but just something to keep in mind. Just recently, TJX just announced a lime green Serapad Kin, and you guys know I have to get it. I definitely want to test out its durability and glide compared to the Skypad, as it's supposed to be faster than a glass pad. It has a ceramic coating, and since ceramic is one of the hardest materials in the world, I wonder if it also has the same issue of PTFE material building up on it. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss that video. Anyway, that's pretty much it on the Skypad. Overall, I love it. The color on it just absolutely pops, and when it's clean, it feels so nice and smooth. The matte finish on it provides just enough stopping power for it to be considered my main, as I can build really fast and edit really fast with it, but also hit some good flicks. If you guys enjoyed the video, I ask that you please like and subscribe, as it helps me so much in getting my content out there. Also, let me know in the comments what pad is your main and why do you like it so much. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.